the earth, right? The soil, the water, and then it's, a lot less acreage for a farmer to actually manage, so that saves him or her money as well. So here is a look at our greenhouse. We are down there in the bottom of this graphic here just to show you that we are already innovating. So in the field, if we were to do this work in the field today, it would be about 190 acres outside. But we are able to take all of that work and we're taking it down to just 7 acres under glass here in Miranda. So you can actually get 2 Biosphere 2s into our facility. That kind of gives you an idea of how large we are. 7 acres, that's about 7 Arizona Stadium football fields, right? And then in the middle there, if you're able to see the division line in our greenhouse down at the bottom, that is all where our automation and robotics are. So that's about another acre of space there where we're using robots to put our corn into the pots that you might be able to see behind me. So the other cool thing about growing under glass is that we can get about 3 or 4 rounds of corn every year in our greenhouse, where in a field in Iowa, they're just going to get 1. Might get 2 down in Mexico or 2 in Hawaii, but we're going to get 3 to 4 out of our greenhouse. Right. So how are we doing this? How are we getting 190 to 200 acres down to 7? We are looking at the DNA of every seed before we plant it. So if you're in a field situation, you're planting a lot of different seeds to see what you get. A typical breeder would go look at that ear of corn and make judgments after it's already grown. Well, for us, what we're doing is we know the DNA. We take a little chip out of every corn seed, and it's just like what you would do if you do, 23andme.com, Ancestry.com, you know your own DNA. And so when we do that, we say, like, this corn seed is drought tolerant, and this one over here resists pests. So we are going to go to farmersonly.com, and we're going to get those 2 seeds married and create a great corn seed for the future. So that is a really high-level way to look at genetics, but as Vicki said, I'm a journalist by trade, and I went to ASU, so the science part is not my skill set, but that analogy to our own DNA and farmersonly.com really helps me understand exactly what we're doing out here. So from there, I'm gonna take you inside our greenhouse here. So this is corn on what we call a big bench. And each of those corn plants is in a pot that's reusable. We use those over and over again. And so we take this corn inside to protect it. We've invested a lot of money in each kernel of corn to find out that DNA. And so we want to protect that corn. So we're going to take it inside and keep it away from bugs, the heat, and the cold. We have air conditioning and heating to make sure that our corn is protected. Again, we're using pots, not soil out in the field, and we compost all of the soil that we use in those pots, along with everything that's extra and left over from a corn plant. And then robotics and automation is part of how we're doing this. So those benches in the greenhouse, you can see how tightly packed all those plants are together. So we don't have people going in and out of the greenhouse space. We have robots moving these benches around for us. So it's kind of like a dry cleaning system. So if you want a bench of corn from the back of the greenhouse, you're going to tell a computer to send it on over to you so that you can look at that corn. And then we recapture and recycle all of our water that we're using. So we fill that bench up with water, kind of like a bathtub, and then whatever the plants don't absorb, we're going to recapture and recycle that water, and we'll use it again. So it's a great sustainability message right there. So I want to talk a little bit about the Miranda team. This photo was literally taken the week before the pandemic as we were getting ready for our ribbon cutting, which was so exciting. We were literally the last big event for Bayer globally before the shutdowns. And so we're bringing a lot of different people together. Engineers, we need people with those skill sets to keep those robots running. Robots don't do it by themselves. They need people. We have biology and science happening. It's really interesting. We do get bugs inside the greenhouse. Oftentimes that'll be maybe on us as we come in from outside, things like that. But we use other bugs to kill the bad bugs. So, for instance, right now we have ladybugs who inside the greenhouse. So they're working against the other bugs that are eating our plants. So it's a delicate balance. And then we're using data. We have a lot of data scientists who are tracking each and every corn seed from beginning to end as it comes through our facility. So on each of our pots is a barcode, and we'll be able to tell where in the greenhouse each seed is as it grows through the life cycle. And then we're doing a lot of problem solving. I often will speak to students at the U of A who are wanting to work here, and they'll ask me what the #1 skill is, and I will say problem solving, collaboration, being innovative and creative. Those are all those soft skills that we need people to bring to this environment. We're doing something that's never been done before, and it's really hard. I got this job in 2017, and we've been in what we call startup mode, that whole time. And so it takes a big group of people thinking about problems in different ways to solve these big, and make these big ideas reality. So I wanted to talk just quickly about our facility by the numbers. As Vicki mentioned, we were a $100 million construction project, and we are no longer in construction, which is really exciting. We have 115 employees today. 24 of them are Wildcats. Many of them, I just actually was talking to some folks the other day, 5 people out of one class of 20, they took a class together, and all 5 of them work at our facility now after graduation, so it's really, really cool. We pay about $1.5 million in taxes, and Sun Corridor estimates we'll have a $284 million economic impact on the area by 2025. We've given more than $200,000 in Bayer grants and donations from our own budget since 2017, and 200 plus volunteer hours. So just next week we'll be out cleaning the roadways around our facility as part of the United Way Days of Caring. We're really excited to participate again this year. In previous years we have helped at the Tucson Botanical Garden, and the year before that we pulled buffalo grass, which was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. But unfortunately with COVID restrictions, we can't go to anyone right now, so we're gonna clean our neighborhood up. And here's just a few of those photos as we're involved in the community. We also work with the U of A really closely on their engineering program every year. We were able to donate COVID medical supplies early on in the pandemic when those gloves and masks were in short supply. We actually were able to clean out our stock and donate them. And we also learned how to 3D print the face shields, and we did thousands of those as well. Also in the early days of the pandemic, even before everyone was wearing masks, we helped with food bank distributions in Miranda. And I just remember at the very first one, the cars were lined up for more than a mile for people to come and get produce. So I really appreciate that our company has always let us be a big part of the community. Okay, so I promised some fun facts about corn. So it turns out that corn started off as a weed 10,000 years ago. It's called teosinte, and that's on the left there in the wild. It was just this little weed that it would be really hard to eat. You'd have to, crush down the kernels to get just a little bit of food out of that. And so over 10,000 years, people have created the corn that we love today. They would select the best from what they were growing to come up with an even better plant the next time around. So a lot of what we do is that same thing, but faster. It's not going to take 10,000 years to get to the next best corn. And then I love to share this information about where is corn used. So we're growing corn that you would typically say is silage corn. It's not the corn, the sweet, juicy corn you're going to eat on the 4th of July or expect to come from Colorado. So here's a little bit of a look at where this corn is used. Animal feed I mentioned is a really big one, but just the outer coating on a Bayer aspirin is made from a corn product, and lots of other medicines. Crayons, The way to get that label to stick on your favorite Crayola crayon is made from corn. Dryer sheets, window cleaners, of course corn syrup, and things like that. Corn starch. So corn syrup is in your gum, and so you may chew on this corn. Plastics, there's all kinds of amazing plastics that also are quickly biodegradable. I actually did a big order of biodegradable corn plastic pens, and then I left them in my car in the summer, and they started to break down and not work anymore, literally from being in my car. And then, of course, biofuels. So that's another really big piece of that pie there. But I have gone super, super fast, but that is some fun facts about corn. And I had hoped today to bring you live inside of our greenhouse, but due to COVID restrictions, I couldn't get in there today. But I did put my email here at the end, and perhaps the Rotary can send that out as well. If you'd like to sign up for a virtual tour inside the greenhouse, it takes a little bit longer than this 20 minutes, probably about an hour, but I can show you how the robotics works live, and it's a really fun opportunity just to kind of get a deeper dive. So I'm happy to set that up for anyone who would like to do that. And I'd also love for you to follow me on Twitter, where I share some of our stories as well. So I think I met my time just exactly, so I am available for any questions you might have too.
Questions? Come on up.
Thank you, Stefanie, for speaking to us today. So my question is that I heard when it was 110 degrees in Tucson, you had to put some kind of something over the glass so that for the corn. Is that correct?
Oh, so the glass is there all the time, and so on a 110 degree day, we're going to turn up our air conditioning just a little bit more, but we try to keep the inside of the greenhouse at about 86 to 89 degrees year round. That's the perfect temperature.
And then do you do high school or college internships?
That's a great question. College for sure. We just had some fabulous interns from the University of Arizona and a university in college. We are looking at, once life goes back a little bit normal, to have high school students come in the summer for a week-long sort of boot camp, so they can spend some time at the greenhouse learning the science, and also we would help them with their professional development skills.
Yeah, Jim Bronstead, what are you getting cost-wise per bushel from your corn versus corn grown out in the field?
Ooh, that's a great question. So we are not really counting how much this costs this year. It's a lot of money. But next year, that will be part of our plan, is to really figure out that cost per pot and kernel so that we can get better from there. But startup for any company costs a lot more money than you think it will.
Hi, thanks for coming to talk to us.
We can't hear you.
What? It's tricking me, I'm
No,
sure.
we can't hear you.
No, you have to can you all hear me?
No!
Can Stefanie hear me? She's the important one.
Lift your freaking visor.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, my money say so.
I just did.
No. It was a question about genetically modified versus genetically engineered foods. I know there's a lot of angst in many countries about GMO, genetically modified foods. So what's the difference between genetic engineering and genetically modified, and what would your corn be classed as?
Yeah, that is a great question. So those are actually really the same thing. Just the common way of referring to it is a GMO, but the real science way to talk about that is genetic engineering. We actually, since we have two sides of the greenhouse, they're separate from one another. One side is completely traditional, it is not GMO, and the other side is GMO. And that's just because there is a need for both kinds of corn all around the globe, and so we do both. So as far as the angst goes, I was just actually talking to someone about this yesterday. So you can kind of think of it like your cell phone. You might put a new app on your cell phone, but that didn't change your cell phone. It just gave you one extra feature. And that is kind of another high-level way to think about GMOs. But they are safe. They have been proven to be safe for since Jen and I were in high school, actually. And so you should have no worries about it. But that is definitely a subject that if anyone wants to talk more about, again, you could email me and we could talk more about that.
Any more questions? We have time. Anybody but Bob? Just kidding. Stephanie, it's Jen. Hi, it's good to see you.
You too.
I know you can't see me, but I'm out here in the interwebs. Thank you so much for coming today. We really enjoyed hearing from you. You guys have really been innovative out there, and we're lucky to have you in our area, that's for sure.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Again, I'm happy to answer any further questions, and if you would like to take a tour on the inside via the interwebs, just let me know.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have a tradition in our club in which we like to have our keynote speaker sign a book that we donate to our Make Way for Books library. And today's book is Right This Very Minute. So we'll get that to you somehow, Stephanie, but thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you. Take care, everybody. Stay safe.
Thank you. Well, now we are going to go on to the birthdays we have in our club today. We have two here celebrating with us. The first one was born in Clinton, Iowa. She's been a member since April of 2009. She's a U of A grad. She's in real estate, but before she was in real estate, she had a very successful paper round. Maybe a few years right before she got into real estate. She was involved in our youth exchange program for about 14 years. She has 3 sons. She enjoys paddleboard yoga. Talk about having some serious balance skills. And I don't know if you know this, but she's our very own Rotary matchmaker. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not going to reveal any details, but I would like to invite Vicki Jacobs, whose birthday was actually yesterday.
Clinton, Iowa, by the way, is the corn syrup capital of the United States.
That's not something to be proud of.
Doesn't smell good. Doesn't smell good at all. I'm so glad to be a Rotarian in our club. And I wanted to let everybody know, due to my profession, that over 1 million people moved into our state last year. And I think that we're going to have more this year because of the fires and COVID. We're very popular. So hopefully we have 1.5 million people move to our state. So keep me in mind. Take care.
$20.
The next person we are celebrating with has been a member since January of 2016. Born in Dallas, Texas, is a Texas Tech graduate, which may explain his love for all things barbecue. I don't know if any of you are friends with him on Facebook, but sometimes he posts these pictures of this amazing barbecue he does. And I don't think he lives all that far from me, but I haven't, you know.
You don't ask, you don't get.
Right. Maybe I need to start just showing up. He worked for both the Dallas and the Tucson Chamber of Commerce's before becoming the director at Make-A-Wish Foundation. Please help me welcome Barbecue Pitmaster, Rob Lemaster.
Thanks, question, just text me your address the next time. We're doing some pulled pork. I did find a new brisket connection the other day, so that's probably next. That or a couple of turkeys is probably the next thing to go. But happy to be here to celebrate my birthday in person with everybody. It's good to see everybody. You know, we're still farmers in Texas, but we don't do corn and we don't have this big, beautiful greenhouse up in Perryton, Texas. So maybe that's the next thing on the list. But I wanted to say thank you to my sponsor, Paul Hallams. And Paul, I need to apologize to you because I did get a dessert today, but it's only because it's my birthday. He was very disappointed to find out there was no dessert. And my mentor and travel agent, Nancy Purden, again, very, very thankful to be a member and to do another trip around the sun even during this weird year. And hopefully next year will be way, way better. And there's a check for the foundation. So, thanks.
Thank you so much, Bob, and happy birthday. Now, we have a Paul Harris presentation. You guys have the pleasure of having terror rained upon you again by a man that requires no introduction. Past President Bob.
Oh, I forgot. Thank you. Thank you for that amazing round of applause. I know that's from the heart. And it's fun to be back for the first time doing this, I think in 18 months, give or take. So Paul Harris Fellow, thanks to you, Rotary, for making a difference at a time when communities need our help more than ever. Together, we funded thousands of projects around the world. We provided resources for total COVID-19 health and recovery efforts, in addition to other initiatives to prevent disease, and of course, our continued fight to end polio. By the way, you may not be aware, but it just was announced, I think last week, that the entire continent of Africa is now polio-free. So no matter how large a problem is, like polio, thanks to you, we can make and work towards solutions and opportunities for people all over the world. So today we recognize two people, two of our own Rotarians who have helped make this happen. Mary Martin is receiving her Paul Harris Fellow Plus 5.
All right.
And Doug and Mary Martin have been married for 39 years. They have 4 children and 9 grandchildren. Since arriving in Tucson in 1985, they have operated multiple radio stations in Tucson and the surrounding southern Arizona area. On November 1st, 2018, after 33 years of running this radio empire, all of the stations were sold for a ton of money. But the formats continue to thrive under the new ownership. And since they had this money, they were inclined not to just sit around and do nothing and eat bonbons in retirement. So they started a marketing and PR company, Good News Communications, and over 20 of their radio clients stayed with them during their new endeavor. Their business is thriving, and they have discovered a whole new world of marketing opportunities for their clients outside of radio. Mary's been active over the years in many professional organizations. She's been recognized for her work, having received the American Advertising Federation Ad Professional of the Year, the Silver Medal Award, and the Hall of Fame Award. And by the way, she served as our president for 1 year. And she was the 5th women president in our club. And Charlotte was number 2. And I think Marianne was number 3, so you're behind 2 of the other presidents in our club. So, when asked why she supported Rotary International, she said the following: because of the far-reaching impact Rotary has had on the world in so many different facets of life for those whose needs are so dire. So congratulations, Mary Martin. So Jeff Bronstead is also receiving his Paul Harris +5. And you're going to have to bear with me, going to do a little history, because this is out of one of the Bronstead memoirs. All right, so follow along, because it says here, in March of 1882, Jeff's great-great-grandfather, Frederick Augustus, a retired engineer from the German army who had immigrated to Mexico, while bringing his 14-year-old son, Federico, from Magdalena, Mexico, to Tucson and basically drop off the kid to learn about the blacksmithing trade, he said the following, and this is out of page 58 of this book. And this is the great-great-grandfather Frederick talking to his 14-year-old son, and it actually is pretty cool. Now you are in the United States of America, without question, the greatest nation in the world. You will enjoy great liberty and protection from America, and you will always feel and show appreciation for that. When you become a man, you may want to establish yourself in the United States and see that your life and conduct is such that it will entitle you to the privilege of American citizenship. And 138 years later, Jeff and his family proudly support Rotary International because it advances world understanding, goodwill, and peace through the improvement of health, the support of education, and the alleviation of poverty. As the favorite things he likes to do outside of the history stuff, he likes to eat sea fish, he likes to smoke cigars and drink bourbon, and by the way, I was invited to drink bourbon and cigars in his backyard about a month ago, so I'm learning about bourbon. And then he plays golf, not very well. He likes to go with his kids to football games, basketball games, and rugby games, and travel with Tiana, who was here a couple of weeks ago. So congratulations, Jeff Bronstead, for your continued support of Rotary International programs. So we're staying on the history theme. We're going to go back to, we talked about your early career and your early life. You may not know this, but Mary's first career, when she started out, she worked at her husband's mom's restaurant. So we have an apron that actually match these amazing pot holders. So I did check eBay, $3.95 you can get for that stuff. And Jeff, you've heard this before. You know what Jeff did when he was a kid? He sold popcorn and peanuts, and he was Tuffy the Toro at the Tucson Toro games. So, and I'm glad he's sitting at our table because we have popcorn and peanuts. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome and congratulations to Jeff and Miranda.
We have so many announcements, so come on up if you're about to give an announcement. Bob, Logan, you're first on the list.
Oh, you're Bob.
All right, here we go. So on your seats is our ballot for our board of directors coming up. And I believe, are we voting next week? Is it 2 weeks? In November, we're voting 3 of these 6, and I'm going to announce them alphabetically. Some are here, some are not. So first, Joe Danishevsky. Hey! Luda Eisenman. I don't think she's here. She is running. We do have Marcy Euler. There you go in the back. Ginny Flower. And we have another one that is here, Rob Lemaster. And then finally, Jenny Volpe is our final. So congratulations, good luck, and we will have a new board here in a couple of weeks. Thank you.
Bruce, Jacob.
That's an impressive slate right there.
Yes.
All right, Mark, playing to my strengths, we've got another social mixer coming up. So for anybody that has never been to Three Canyons Brewery, or wine and beer, I should say, it's on Sabino Canyon Road, just north of the old Hacienda, Hidden Valley. And it's a completely outdoor venue with the exception of you do have to purchase your drinks inside. For the beer drinkers of the group, is they have probably every known beer known to mankind that you can purchase there. For the winos, is you'll be happy to know that on Wednesday night it's half-off bottles of wine. So it's a fun place. Sign up is already out there on the website, so you can start signing up today. We do have it limited to 60, so hopefully you'll be able to turn out. We had a great one at Vero Mori, which people like the outdoor venue. But again, if you haven't been to Three Canyons, I know you'll really enjoy this place. So sign up. Mr. Logan.
Can we bring our dog?
You can bring your dog.
And we bring our spouses.
Yeah, spouses no, but dogs are okay. No, spouses are fine.
Do dogs need to wear a mask?
Your dog probably would. Any other questions?
Muzzle. Put a muzzle on that thing. Star hair.
I hope in the next few minutes that I inspire you to support an important cause that we all care about: polio eliminated from the face of the earth. Our hard work is paid off through the work of Rotarians and our partners, including the World Health Organization, which, as Bob mentioned, certified the Africa region to be free of wild polio virus. Hey! Nigeria has been our focus on that continent, so hearing about the entire African region was great news. We celebrate this achievement and look to the next goal to eradicate the wild polio virus in the two remaining countries, Afghanistan and Pakistan. On the screen you can see the most recent polio eradication report from this past Saturday. The picture shows immunizers in Somalia who recently conducted integrated measles and polio campaigns in the Bandir region while observing COVID safety measures. This was the first polio campaign in this area since COVID reached Somalia 7 months ago. The chart also announces that 19,100,000 children have been saved from paralysis polio since 1988. You can see the increase in the cases from 2016 to 2019, so work is not done. But note 2020 is not ended and the cases may go down this year. When one remembers that there were between 350,000 and 500,000 cases in 1988, these current numbers are significant. Though it is difficult to see at the bottom of the screen, Pakistan had 147 cases last year, 74 to date, and Afghanistan had 29 with 51 to date. So we need to take action. World Polio Day is October 24th, and with this, our closest club meeting to that date, I want to kick off our club's plans to have our indoor ride to end polio. Though it will happen over many days, our club's World Day Polio event. It's our members' effort to stay committed to making progress in the challenge to end polio. Yes, the All Tour, of which our ride has been a part of, is rescheduled to next year to April 10th. There are several clubs that wish to continue to do their indoor ride at this time with appropriate safety measures. Our indoor team was scheduled to do our ride on November 17th. However, the spin room we were going to use is not available for us to ride with current safety measures. So each of our team members have alternate plans that will fulfill their indoor ride either with a stationary bike or a ride in their neighborhood or a group ride along the Relito River Loop. Here are our team members on the screen, and I would like to encourage you to consider making a donation to Polio Plus to sponsor one of our riders. Checks should be made out to the Rotary Foundation with your rider's name in the memo. Your donation will also get you closer to your Paul Harris Fellow level of recognition, and for the polio effort, your donation will be matched 2 to 1 by the Gates Foundation. Your donation is a win-win. This year's Polio Foundation goal is $150 million, which includes the Gates match. One might ask, what could all this money go for? As a sampling, this past June alone, over 19,000 vehicles were hired for the frontline workers in Afghanistan. 90 million doses of the polio vaccine were made available. Over 12,000 vaccinators were trained in Sudan, and over 2,500 community health workers were recruited in Pakistan. Healthcare workers who go out and recruit families. So please consider, save a child, end polio now. Supporting a rider helps end polio. Thanks for your consideration.
All right, thank you.
Bruce Tenzie. Come on up, we have an announcement, then Joe Daniszewski, Jeannie Zita, and Hugh Thompson up the top.
Thank you, Gary. Actually, Dan, would you come up as well? We're here today to present a blue badge to Dan Cowell. Dan is a respected business owner here in Tucson, a state farm agency owner. Has been with them for, I guess, about 30 years now. And he's also his sponsor is Mike Schulte. And he's got 3 kids. And I read on your high profile, one of which is an Eagle Scout, which is very impressive, another of which is your miracle baby. So for details, go to Dan's high profile to see more about that, because we've only got a minute here today. But I want to present your blue badge. Dan's very involved in the club, and even though you've had some restrictions this year, and I'm sure he will continue to expand that involvement in the future. Congratulations.
All right. Just like to say thank you, and thanks for enjoying being in the club, and if I can help anybody with car stuff, that's what I do. Take care.
And Joe Daniszewski, car show minute.
Hey, let's hear it for the car show! We are, as of yesterday, at 21,430 tickets sold. That's 71% of goal. Looking in back, I'm thinking things could be magical. Gotta watch Roger, and he works. He makes things work. You know, when we started the ticket sales this year, we knew we had some challenges. And in 3 months, I think we've done a very good job to overcome those challenges. And I think we've set in motion great strategies and techniques for years to come. So the whole online feature of that 21,430, 13,725 is online. That is incredible. That is incredible. Now, we always have to remember the why. Why do we do car show? We do it to have a great footprint for charity in Southern Arizona, helping great charities. And we also want to make sure that we have a fun and fellowship activity. I have a wonderful letter here from Hugh Thompson. Hugh, I'm going to read just a bit of it. And he talks about JTED being the new high-tech high school campus featuring career and technical education. Located at Park and the Freeway, will open soon, has opened. I have had one daughter and one granddaughter take the JTED training during their last 2 years of high school. When they graduated, they were job ready and self-confident. They were financially independent as they went into college. More importantly, they had learned time management and that hard work pays off, and just how empowering that can be. They are captains of their ship and have the self-image to match. 98% of the JTED students graduate. Great charity?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, come on. Great charity.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. All right, Joe, Jean, and then
Okay, so the interesting challenge is each Sunday when I prepare the slide to submit to Stefanie, I know that the numbers will be low compared to what will happen when I show up. So I just want to tell you we've now got 221 items listed because we got the Omni National Golf Resort this week. 148 of them have bids. We've had 107 bidders, and I'm happy to report 57 of those are Rotarians. So we've increased in those numbers as well. And our today's take on what we should be bringing in on this auction is 15,123. And I've heard that a lot of people are waiting to give their prime bid when it's Thursday or Friday. So I want to remind you all, Friday night, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, bidding will shut out electronically. No fudging, 5 more minutes if I'm standing there. It's going to cut off. And then we're going to go ahead and proceed with awarding the items, and then taking care of the unsold items and locking them up. And then we're going to do a little pitch to anybody who is not a winning bidder and see if maybe they'd like to give a cash donation because they have been thinking about benefiting our organizations. And then on Saturday, 5 will be at the auction location at Danielle's husband's office, and distributing items to people who show up to pick it up. And then also on October 18th from 10 to 3. And those are the prime times for people to come and get their things. So there's a lot you can help us do: bid, refer friends, promote, and help on that day. We still have a few shifts available, especially, we could use a couple more people Saturday afternoon for a few hours. We could use a couple people both the morning shift and an afternoon shift on Sunday, unless everything gets picked up on Saturday. So those are some of my parts of the announcements. Danielle's got some highlights to share with you. And I have one other quick, if anybody knows anything about those posters in the back corner, were those, there's something about the first decades of cars, winning cars from the car show. If that's supposed to be about the car auction, please see me. Okay, go on.
Hi.
Guess what?
What?
This auction is ending on Friday night.
All right.
So I have credit card numbers for Marion Freitas, Jen Hoffman, and Roger Harwell. So if you guys want to buy something, just call me and I will take care of that. So we're doing a really great job. You guys have been amazing jumping on and farming out to your friends and family, but it is going to end on Friday night. What we decided to do with the items that have not come up for bid is on Saturday and Sunday we're going to actually have them sitting out, so when you come and pick up your stuff, we might sell a few more items. So some of the artwork and stuff that may not look as good online, I think will really do really well in person. So bring a checkbook or Marianne's credit card for that too. Just a couple things really quick. So he's affectionately known as C. Eddie in our house, but Chris Edwards has donated not only the 65-inch TV, but he's also given a $500 gift certificate for Tucson Appliance. And that one is at $200 right now. Right, Jeannie?
That's the opening pick.
Okay, come on now. There's an F-16 simulator. Gary Larson has donated his 25-person man cave drink and general debauchery. Rick Rose and his production services. The Puerto Vallarta house. The Omni foursome for golf. And the Centurion tickets. 4 tickets general admission on that one. So get in, bid, win, take it away from me. Thanks, guys.
Hugh Thompson.
Good afternoon. In the spring of 1997, the district governor in Vladivostok, Russia, contacted our DG, Brad Fisher, asking if there was any way we could help with her dire medical situation in Vladivostok. Past district governors Ron and Sandy Goodside took this opportunity to arrange a medical evaluation trip to Vladivostok with the 2 Vladivostok Rotary clubs in July of '97. This is Russia's only warm water port at the end of the 5,700-mile Trans-Siberian Railway. Jerry Bajera, a plastic surgeon, and I were fortunate to be asked to be on the team. This story is just one highlight of our 8-day trip. After a 22-hour flight, we were greeted by a group of smiling Rotarians, obviously delighted that we were there. Hungry for outside information, we never stopped talking. The drive from the city, from the airport, gave us an inkling of the dire situation post-perestroika that these happy, proud, generous, tough, and resilient people were living under. By the end of our trip, we realized that the medical system was in at least as bad a situation as their infrastructure decline. To top it off, 5,500 rubles got you $1. How they hosted us like royalty everywhere we went touched our hearts, knowing they were shorting their own families. At the first hospital of the 14 medical facilities we visited, we were taken to the director's office and asked to look at Eleanor, an 11-year-old girl who was walking home from the grocery store on a blustery day when a gust of wind or a slammed door caused a loose pane of window pane to fall from a sixth-story window. It hit Ellie in the left forehead, crushing the bone between the hairline and the eyebrow. But she was alive. At the hospital, they controlled the difficult bleeding and removed some bone chips. It was a huge challenge to close the macerated skin from the cut. She finally healed with no residual infection during her 4-week hospitalization. When we saw her, she seemed to be functioning normally, but when you lifted her blonde bangs, you could see the brain pulsating under a 2 by 1.5 inch bone defect. A blow to this area might be fatal. It was obvious from our subsequent hospital tours that a cranioplasty was not possible in Vladivostok. We knew we had to figure out a way to bring her back to the States and have this repaired, as there was so little else we could think of to help this beleaguered medical system. Tucson responded with heartfelt generosity. In short order, the medical community made this dream a reality. Our past president, Don Shropshire, CEO of TMC, volunteered the hospital stay and operating suite. Neurosurgeon Jack Dunn, radiologist Norm Comar, and anesthesiologist Lance Clyde, and others donated their services. I was allowed in the operating room when Dr. Dunn made a forehead incision at the hairline. He exposed the defect and made a tin plate out of a piece of tin foil, cutting it to the exact shape of the defect. He then exposed the posterior skull and chose an area exactly the same curvature, and with the tin plate, cut out a piece of skull bone exactly the same size and shape as the forehead defect. In children, the skull bone is made up of like a Oreo cookie with a hard outside and inside layer separated by a soft spongy layer. He was able to divide this piece of skull into 2 pieces through the spongy layer. One piece was replaced in the donor area and the other used to cover the forehead defect. These were held in place with small titanium plates and screws. With the skin closed, it was hard to tell that anything had happened. The Goodsides and Thompsons hosted Ellie and her mother post-operatively, exploring Tucson as she was able. Having captured the hearts of everyone she met during her stay here, it was an emotional party when Ellie and her mom boarded their 26-hour flight back to Russia. Yesterday, we received an email from Ellie, which tells the rest of the story. And shows how powerful our Rotary projects can be and how they can grow beyond their wildest dreams. President Jen has agreed to read the letter so I don't cloud my glasses.
Okay, I'll read the letter as written. Dear Hugh and Alan, how are you? I was so happy to receive your email. Actually, I thought about coming back to Tucson and if I had a chance to speak at the Rotary Club meeting. I moved to Moscow, Russia, about 13 years ago. Previously, I lived in Vladivostok, Russia. At the age of 27, I got married and changed my last name. She lists the last names here, but I'm not going to attempt that one. She has 2 daughters named Elisaveta, she's 8, and Polina, who's 5. She has 3 degrees, and she's currently working as the head of a school. She graduated in 2014 from Loyola University with a master's degree in education, the Montessori Institute in 2011, and this goes on and on. As you can see, my life has always been connected with the U.S., and I got 2 of my degrees in the States. This was probably the reason why I moved to a huge city as well, to have more opportunities in life. I have worked in an HR company and then in a Japanese cosmetics company, but after all of that, I understood that my life is Montessori school. I have been working for the Montessori school's MSM for 12 years. She says, my story. My mom is trying to find pictures at home as well, but she has the one that you have sent me already. In 1996, I had a surgery in Russia when the glass window fell on my head. The doctors saved my life there. It turned out that at the time, the only option for me was to put a piece of plastic in my head, which meant it could not stay there forever. So my family started to look for different options. My dad was part of the Rotary Club at that time, and we have always had visitors who came to Vladivostok. Then there was an option to go to the U.S. and to do a surgery, which at that time seemed unreal to me. I thank every day all the people who took part in covering the expenses for my surgery, and a special thank you to Dr. Jack Dunn, whose family I would love to visit and say it again personally. My life has changed after that completely, and the ability to be normal again gave me a lot of strength to do things in life. My family and I love to do sports. Taking that trait of character from me, I believe my daughter Polina attends rhythmic gymnastics at the main center in Moscow. Elizaveta dances at another famous Moscow dance school. I would also like to thank my family who have always supported me during this time. This was not the end of the story. I was lucky enough to study at St. Gregory's College Prep School my junior year with the help of Dr. Jack Dunn, and I lived with a wonderful host family whom I think as well. My level of English was completely different when I returned home. This story has influenced my life completely, and now I am who I am thanks to many people who helped a girl from Vladivostok to live her normal life. Without that help, it would have been completely different. Thank you for your open hearts. My school helps every year different organizations, and I would be happy to share this information one day standing at the Rotary Club meeting. With all that is going on in the world right now, it is hard for our business, so we are trying different options. Hopefully one day we will all return to normal life. Dear Alan and Hugh, you played a great role in my life. I thank you for that. I read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory to my girls now. With love, Eleanor.
I'm going to have next week the websites from her Montessori school, so you can look at it if you want, and they have a Christmas bazaar, and possibly I want to try to find out if there's any way we can send a donation, but I will let you know next meeting. And I just want to say that if any of you have the opportunity to go on a Rotary work project somewhere else in the world, please try to make it happen. You will never be the same. Thank you.
How incredible. What an amazing thing you were part of, Hugh. I want to say thank you to everybody for coming today. Thank you to those who tuned in online. Welcome. Thanks for coming to the meeting, Andrew. Happy birthday, Rob, Vicky. Congratulations. It looks like Mary may have snuck out for Jeff on the Paul Harris Fellows. We do have a scholarship cup at the registration table if you'd like to make a donation. And when you're walking by, please make sure you return your name tags to the basket back at the table. Next week, we are dark because we have our fantastic raffle event this weekend. I hope I see a goodly amount of you there at the Gregory School when we do our raffle drawing. And now for the toast. Oh, what happens from 1:30 to 4 at the Gregory School? Well, we're going to be doing a drawing. There's going to be some cars there for us to, there's going to be, Truly Nolan's bringing a car, and there's a couple other cars there for us to look at, but we're going to enjoy fellowship, and there's, like, if you want to decorate your car if you signed up, you can do that. And then DJ John's going to be playing music.
Yeah.
You get to hear the oldies, John. Thank you for that. Okay, today I'm going to quote Denzel Washington. At the end of the day, it's not about what you have or even what you have accomplished. It's about who you've lifted up, who you have made better. It's about what you have given back. So here's to you, Rotarians, for always giving back. Adjourned.